one of the best colleges in Pune University because we as a whole PCCOE family not just believe in imparting technical education to our students but at the same time inculcating in them social and human values, and we promise ourselves we'll continue to do that in future too. Moving ahead, we now fervently request our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Milind Mutalik sir, to bless us with his words of wisdom. Please, sir.
Good morning to all. Well, many a times it is difficult to come and stand in front of so much, so-called knowledge-based degrees and speak something. I think I'm being called here as the chief guest because many times I don't get the single platform at the office. Well, I'll start with a small message that, I always feel when I come here at PCCOE and more other institutes that they're actually working like a corporates. They do a lot of activities which a corporate really does. And surely that feeling needs to be carried by each of the institute that they are like a corporate. And if they feel confidence that they are a corporate, they will very easily able to transition so-called their output or their students into the corporate. And that's the first feeling I had. I'll thank Principal Sir and the dignitaries of the dais to be here. Shital is one of the so-called person who is always interacting with us, and I thank him again for inviting me and putting me in a bit of a trouble to talk in front of all of you. Well, what I think is there has been the deliberation on interactions with the DPOs, with the industry, with the institutes, and there has been a lot of talk. Since I'm associated with the so-called engineering colleges interaction since last 5 or 6 years, actually, I feel not being taught. There's a time now to action, create some models, create some benchmarks. And I'm saying what is required, rather looking at the bodies, likes of NASCOM, likes of other bodies, I think you yourself have a lot of strength. As we see the numbers, there are 80,000 students being produced every year by engineering colleges in Pune and Maharashtra. Is there a simple assessment test for them and the rating available to the industry that out of this 80,000, this 5,000 are top rankers? Are we really able to do this sitting at Pune or at Maharashtra rather than looking forward to bodies like NASCOM? These are some positives or questions I have. Second, many a times we need to understand this concept. We say IT companies are not doing this or industry is not doing this. I would rather talk about IT companies because last 10 years, fortunately, I am stuck with the IT organizations. So, we generally say that this is the expectation from the IT organization. IT organizations go back and say this is the expectation from the institute, the engineering colleges. Let's understand the stakeholders into the whole of a process. I see students are coming with their own expectations. Faculties have their own role to play. TPOs have their own role to play. Institutes have their own guidelines. Okay. Obviously, I'm just building out a body like a university line, which would have the framework of courses and all. We are a conduit. IT organizations or industries are conduit to provide the services to a global customer. Now, when we say certain things are expected, it is not expected for the industry, it is expected for the end customer. When we talk about a global market, when we talk about the people whom we meet and deliver our services, what is expected by them has been translated back into the expectation by us, back to the engineering colleges. Now, understanding of each of the stakeholders of what is required to the end customer, I think would help us in dealing with that. Obviously, you will see that this is a broad level statement. True. The point of view is very simple. What is that truly important which industry needs, we are able to showcase? I would say many of the engineering colleges needs to take a position of the guiding faculties, or for that matter, guiding bodies for the industry. how many of them are able to assume this position? In contrast, if you look at the recent things, okay, we have our so-called the economic body advisor who has moved to IMF from India side, is the one who was teaching in Chicago College. Somebody who was heading the IMF has gone back to the Chicago College of Economics. Do we have the engineering colleges coming and guiding IT as to what next they should do? Can we do this? Can we model some projects where we are able to take over the problems of the IT companies and solve them? You have a time, you have interesting and intelligent faculties who can work on it and give a solution to the industry. Allow us to solve our tomorrow's problems and you have that strength. I think the attempt needs to be done towards this area. So every stakeholder understanding their role and trying to address the need of a global customer. Finally, all of us know, if I talk about IT, okay, about 75+% of business comes out of US, 20% or rest of the world plus Europe gives 20% of business. So when we talk about the customers, specifically we talk about US customers. Again, I'm saying this is based on the statistics and the data of top 5 or 10 IT organizations. And that being the reason, if we are clear on stakeholders' requirement from the other side, such as the global customers, I'm sure we will have more better alignment on what we are doing. There is obviously, all things will contain various sub-parts of it, be it a soft skill, be it a technical skills, be it a project management knowledge, engineering or so-called the system engineer rather than only the programmer, or understanding the system architecture better than somebody else. And this is something which would be ingredients of various other things to give this solution. I'm sure every industry has to look back into the engineering college as a right supply chain. If they are not able to strengthen the supply chain and just go on blaming, which I think we as Synechron do not want to do that, is they will not able to really get the right supply chain and the inputs. There's a lot to learn, obviously, from a manufacturing company, and I've been saying this for quite some time. I've seen many automobile companies ensure their subcontractors, the quality check is conducted by them. They ensure they have a right technology by which the end product comes out. I think it's a time when industry also has to look back. And same way, obviously the institutes have to understand academically as to what is expected to come into academics, which would help practically while they go out. I think this synergy would help, and I would suggest drawing some programs on this, solution orientation, trying to know what the problems are. I'll tell you a very simple case in my experience earlier. Whenever we wanted to download some projects back to the engineering college, we would say, get us somebody who can run these projects for us, so-called project management skill. And we had a difficult time to get started. So, if the students have to learn, faculties have to take over the responsibility of being a project manager. If this kind of skills we are able to develop, I'm sure the gap can be very easily bridged by all of us. It is very easy to point the finger towards each other, but I think to work out on a win-win, or I will say on behalf of my organization, we are able to take this step forward. You will always express the engineering and medicine colleges to come forward and understand us better, so you are able to provide the stage here that we have the highest order from my side. Thank you so much. And
thank you so much, sir, for providing us this new outlook, and we are really hopeful that such kind of assessment exercise will not only help to bridge the gap between industry and academia, but at the same time will help us to understand each other in a better
manner. The first
manner.
batch of MCAs of 100 students have joined us now. I think 2012 this was a historic moment for us, obviously, because we were the first time and for the industry that we had 101 MCAs joining us in the month of April. Well, we have onboarded further 125 in the month of August and 125 coming up to us in the month of September on 4th and 6th. So we are happy to see that onboarding is on time before we start for our next cycle. And that's something which I thought I should give you my progress card of what activities we are doing, and then start with the talk. So still the people who are listening to me will pardon me because we're doing something better on the other side for the students. Okay, going ahead. I already mentioned it's a contrast and a typical challenging moment for me to talk about the topic which is not my forte, economics. Okay. The present gathering really has a people who are well connected, who read, whose day-to-day issue is to see how best they can tackle their problems. So I'm scared whatever I talk may not be perfect answers, or there are some thought-provoking things which I'll see, but I'm sure people will pardon me. Going ahead, these are typically the point of views which I have. Obviously these days the mother Google does not want us to do a lot of work and gives us your download of whatever you require. Only thing you need to know what right to find out where. So I tried to pick up some data points, some of the experiences which I had. Based on that, I'm trying to put some themes in thought on what's happening around us. There are two themes which I want to talk about. Do we really learn from a history? Is the history really a teacher? While I'm saying this, I'll come to the next slides and you'll know what the point of view I have to make a mention of. And are we really proactive to a change? This applies to both industry as well as the academia. And that's where I thought, let me have the bit of a theme around the presentation. So looking back, that's something which I want to touch upon. All of us have passed through something known as 2008 meltdown. What events have made it happen? What has happened post 2008 and we are today standing in 2012? Look at how did the journey go. We are bothered today about whatever it is, slow or recession, and various other questions come to our mind. Let's try and learn what history is to say and how we are going to do further going ahead from here. We will touch upon a topic such as, how do we look at the campus recruitment? How does, I'm not though representing all the IT organizations, but how good the IT looks at the whole thing. That's something which I try to say. And then the summary of some of the points I think would be a takeaway for all of us. So typically if you look at 2008, it was known to be a meltdown. What made it happen is reduction of financial derivatives based on mortgages. Then the bubble of housing has burst. Okay, it has caused the complete problem of the big bailout had to be made of $700 billion. What happened with that is sharp rise in the commodity prices. It created a global inflation. Interest rates have gone up. Even in India, we face a similar situation. Housing prices have dropped. Very recently, when I was in US, I realized the same. People are even today scared to buy the houses, and that being the reason, these rentals have gone up skyrocketing. Signs of stress and start of spiral, which has happened during 2008. Though there was a learning since August 2007 of what's going to happen, but everybody waited and watched the phenomena. And you see, these are the events which happened. The overall worldwide the impact was very much there of it, and you would find sequence of events which went on happening created liquidity crunch. Some of the mergers acquisition happened. Some of the big players like Lehman Brothers have failed or vanished from the whole of a scenario which nobody thought about would happen, and the whole thing turned into the stress and the economic slowdown. Now this was the story of 2008. All of us who are in the industry and academia have realized that this is something which happened or rather we experienced it. And what do you think post of this? Have we really kept a track of what happened post of it? And going ahead, picking up the information from NASCOM, post 2008, if you look at this last 4 years, the global sourcing grew nearly 2x, okay, in 2010 and 11. So is that 2010 really impacted 2010 and 11? Seems the numbers show here the growth was really 2x.